Hi everyone, welcome to a brand new video where I will take you through the factors that you should consider when selecting a research problem. Although this seems very simple, when selecting a research problem or a topic, there are a number of considerations to be kept in mind, and this will help to ensure that your study is manageable and that you remain motivated throughout the course of your study. So the first point I would ask you to think about is the topic that you have chosen, the problem that you have decided to investigate. Is it of really of any interest to you? So this should be the most important consideration in selecting a research problem. Often students are misguided in this and they are asked to go for the most recent controversial or something that is causing a lot of buzzwords in the industry. But I always feel that a research endeavor is usually time consuming and it all involves hard work and possibly unforeseen problems. So if you select a topic which does not greatly interest you, you're just pursuing it because somebody pushed you towards it, or you think that is the hot topic or that will generate some buzzwords, it can become extremely difficult for you to sustain the required motivation and put in the time and energy required to complete it. The next consideration I would ask you to think about is the magnitude of your study. So you should have sufficient knowledge about the research process to be able to visualize the work that would be involved in completing the proposed study. Now, narrow the topic down to something that is manageable, specific, and clear. It is extremely important to select a topic that you can manage within the time and with the resources at your disposal. Even if you are undertaking a descriptive study, you need to consider its magnitude carefully. Now remember, for part-time students, you may get more time, but then also you are distracted with something else, maybe a job or something else. And so for full-time students, of course, this becomes very important because you have very limited time of 3 to 4 years, and you have to make sure that the project that you plan can be finished within that time. But the part-time students who probably have longer time to finish should also not underestimate the magnitude and scope, because you will of course have more time, but then you're also distracted maybe with other responsibilities. So you have to make sure that you plan it accordingly. Then you have to think about the variables. How will you measure it? So if you are using a concept in your study, um, especially in quantitative studies, make sure you are clear about its indicators and their measurement. For example, if you plan to measure the effectiveness of a health promotion program, or a program to rehabilitate asylum seekers in a country, or random breath testing program, you must be clear as to what determines effectiveness and how it will be measured. Do not use concepts in your research problem that you are not sure how to measure. This does not mean you cannot develop a measurement procedure as the study progresses. While most of the development work will be done during your study, it is imperative that you are reasonably clear about the measurement of these concepts at this stage. Especially consult with your supervisors, your fellow researchers, and be very clear on how to measure the variables before you decide to go with them further into your study. Also, make sure that you have the adequate level of expertise for the task that you are proposing. Allow for the fact that you will be learning during your study and may receive help from your research supervisors and others. But remember that you need to do most of the work yourself. So if you're not skilled to carry out the experiment or collect the data or analyze the data, make sure you acquire those skills first, or make sure you have access to those expertise of people who can guide you during these processes. Select a topic that is absolutely of relevance to you. But make sure that if your topic entails collection of information from secondary sources such as office records or client records or census or other already published reports, make sure that this data is available and in the format you want before finalizing your topic. Ensure that your study adds to the existing body of knowledge, bridges the current gaps, or is useful in policy formulation. This will help you to sustain interest in your study. So of course you have to follow a problem that is of peak interest to you, but also make sure that it has some real world outcomes, some real world relevance, that once you complete your thesis, the findings, your expertise, your knowledge should be able to put into a real world situation. It should not be purely theoretical, because once you can see how your research will impact actual policies or procedures or outcomes or actions or conventions, then you can relate more to it, you can be more invested in it, and you can also reach out to the people who may help you after you finish your thesis to either get a job or for you to be able to contribute to that organization. The final consideration which people often underestimate and overlook is ethical issues. Now, This is an important consideration, especially in formulating a research problem, because in the course of conducting a research study, the study population may be adversely affected by some of the questions, either directly or indirectly, or deprived of an intervention, or they are expected to share sensitive and private information, or expected to be simply experimental guinea pigs. Now, how ethical issues can affect the study population and how ethical problems can be overcome should be thoroughly examined at the problem formulation stage. Now, example, let's say you are trying to investigate data amongst people who have been sexually abused at a young age, or they are alcoholics, or they have been drug users. Now, they are not easily going to reveal all that information to you, especially if they don't know you, if there is no trust. So, you have to think about these issues and you have to come up with a plan before you get too deep into this problem. So you have to look at what others have done, how they have gone about it, and that might be a good way for you to be able to plan your own study. And then of course discuss with your supervisors, discuss with senior researchers, discuss with your peers, and find out what issues have they had, what ethical issues they had to consider in their study, and think whether those ethical issues are applicable to your study also or not. But see, formulating a research problem is actually the most crucial part of your research journey. This is actually the first step, you may think of it, and the quality and relevance of your research project will entirely depend on it. So make sure that you take enough time and keep discussing it with your seniors to make sure that the problem that you formulate, the problem that you decide to investigate, ticks off all the parameters that I've just talked about, and keeps your interest sustained throughout your course of study. Thank you for watching today's video. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will see you soon with my next video. Bye for now.